It's gonna be a small video on just gonna process some wood with this, just to test it out, see how it handles, up to a little bit of abuse. Obviously I'm not going to be chopping bricks and stabbing cars with it or anything like that, so it's just what I made it for, which is for processing wood, so which is something that a smaller knife can't do. This is what I made it for, so we'll see how it does. If it does fail in any point, obviously I will tell you. I've never made a leuku before, as I explained in the first video, so if you want to learn all the specs on this and how I made it and things, watch the first part 1 video to this, where I just rabbit on about this and other things as well. So without further ado, just going to put this through its paces a little bit, and then I'll let you know what I think to it and the improvements that I could make on the second one I'm going to be making. So yeah, let's get on with it. Okay, so I'm probably going to be a bit out of focus. Obviously the purpose of the video is the leuku, the knife, not really me. And again, the only thing I use for filming is my phone, so just look at the tool in action, not necessarily me. Okay, so we have some birch. Birch is very obviously popular here in the UK. It's very knotty. This is from I think it's a birch tree that was felled probably a few weeks ago now. Well, it wasn't felled, it actually got blown over. The roots are all rotten, so that's what we look for as bushcrafters, look for anything like that, so we don't do any damage to the trees. So cut this off from a tree that's already been blown down, so we don't cut live trees, not good. But anyway, feels good in the hand so far. Explaining the first video with the handle shape, could have done with it a little bit thicker towards the end so it don't fly around, but we'll see how it goes. Nothing too drastic, just what I would do. Yeah, chop through that, no problem at all. Safety first, make sure your legs out of the way. Got a lot of power to it. Let's get a few swings at these little notches here. Yep, got really good forward weight, pretty good. De-limb this one here, it's quite thick, maybe an inch thick. For that I'm going to turn this the other way around. Don't like chopping things this way, should really be cutting it this way, unless you've got a saw, you can saw it, but we're not going to use a saw today, we're going to use this, that's what it's for. So out the way, just in case it flies out of my hand. I don't want this blade anywhere near my leg. Some nice nasty squidgy bits. Good grip of the knife. One swing, it's off. You can see that. Nice clean cut. So just a little bit thicker than my finger. It's not 100% green wood, like I say, it's been on the ground for a while, so but yeah, happy chappy with that. Okay, so thickness wise, this is birch. It's about, let's say, definitely thicker than my wrist, probably a thickness of your forearm, maybe 3 inches thick. Let's see how she handles that. Okay, so first swing, you can see how deep that goes. Okay, that's really deep. Shouldn't really be chopping in mid-air, but yeah. Okay, so no problem at all, fell in that. So we inspect the blade. In fact, it went through that a lot easier than I thought it would. But birch is obviously, it's not the hardest wood in the world, but it is quite common here in the UK. So if I was in the wood and I wanted some wood for the fire, you're more likely to come across birch than probably anything else really. So it's probably will be a wood that I'll be using. So yeah, inspect the blade. Now the blade is not what I'm worried about. I know the blade will pass the test. It's the handle that I made, and obviously the problems that I had with the handle, which is in my first video, that I was worried about. So we'll address that. So the blade, has to be expected, no rolls, no chips whatsoever, absolutely nothing at all, not even a blemish. So it's good steel, 4.2mm thick 80 CRV2 carbon steel, very tough steel, definitely could take it. But this is where I was worried. Let's have a look at the handle. So first I'm looking at the bolster around here. That tends to be where most leukus fail. So I don't see any cracks or deformations. Blade is still very tight. Bolster is tight, no wobble, no cracks, nothing obvious either at the bottom, no cracks. Bolster, well, end cap, sorry, still nice and tight as it should be, so looking good. But quite often, as well as birch, in the woods here in the UK, we come across ash or pine. Now unfortunately, in the woodlands where I am, there is no pine. It's mostly birch and ash, so there's no pine whatsoever. I have looked for some this morning to do the video. There is absolutely no pine whatsoever in these woods. Well, there's a couple, but there's none that's been felled down or anything. I'm not prepared to cut down a live pine tree for the sake of a video, because I don't cut down live trees anyway, and B, for the purpose of video, no. So birch and ash. So ash is extremely hard wood. It's probably the hardest wood that we come across here in the UK, alongside oak. So birch, first test passed, no damage to handle or blade. So we're going to chop through something a bit harder, which is ash. Well, a lot harder. Okay, so this has been cut down a while. It's been seasoning. I'll show you. Bark is a little bit rotten in places, but you can see inside it's not too bad. So the other side as well, with that leaf out of the way, it's still solid. You can hear that. Yeah. So again, just cut it off midway. Okay. I'll try and get it in the camera. Definitely harder than the birch, but it's not as thick as the birch either. So it's not as thick as the birch, but it's definitely harder than the birch, because it is ash, and ash is very hard. But as you can see, it's been seasoned, but as you can see, clean cuts, and it's not rotten. So I didn't cheat by picking up a rotten piece. It is not rotten, but it is very hard. And this went through it, no problem at all. So just quickly inspect it for damage. things flying at me. Yeah, so no damage whatsoever on the edge, no rolls, no chips, nothing, no bends, still perfectly straight. Blade still very, very, very solid on the handle. Check the handle again. No cracks, nothing. Bolster still very tight, very strong. No obvious cracks or anything on the handle. The butt plate still in good order, still solid. So chopping passed. Let's have a look how cleanly she can chop. Just could be messing about with it now. See how cleanly she can actually chop. These are only thin, but I'm going to work my way up from the thin part all the way up to the fattest part. Yeah. Yeah. Beastie. Nice clean cut on that one. Go a little bit thicker at the top, just where that knuckle is, I think. Really bites deep this. So again, nice clean cut. Okay, so now we get into the thicker parts now. So you can see nice clean cuts. I'll move it a bit further for you. It's the only piece of wood I've got to chop with, so I do apologise. One chop. Nice clean cut. Look at that. Nice. It really does bury itself deep, this. Okay, so we'll go further up there. We'll keep doing this until it stops, until it's no longer doing one straight cut. So now we're up to about an inch, maybe a little bit more. Again, nice clean cut, about an inch. Now we get onto these bits, see how many it takes to cut. So it's probably about an inch and a half maybe. So it's about an inch and a half thick. Nice clean cut, nice swing. Birch. Okay, so going further up there now, it's getting thicker as we go up there. It's getting really thick now. Again, nice clean cut. Nice clean cut. So the thickest part of the blade here, I'm not expecting this to do one swing. I'll be shocked if it does. So this is really thick here. So as you can see, for the first chops, it's not breaking it, it's actually chopping through it. This is really thick now, it's probably about 2 inches thick. Take a really good swing at this. 2 inches thick. So nearly cut it. It's probably a little bit of a missed swing on my behalf. So another go. Still did it, but it probably snapped it there, because that's probably slightly rotten there. But yeah, check for damage. Check for damage. Got red mite up. A little red mite on my camera. Okay, so check the blade first, obviously. That shot through that like butter, no problem at all. So no bends, no chips, no deformations. Still sharp. Nope. Just a bit of bark. No, nothing, not even a roll, edge roll. Good steel. Handle, which I was the most worried about. No, nothing's shouting out at me. Obviously my next handle is going to be better than this, so if this has passed, if this rough handle is going to pass, then I'm going to be mega impressed. So there's no cracks on the handle whatsoever, guys. There's nothing. Here's a close-up of the bolster. Looks like there's a gap all the way from there, but it's actually the way I've put it on. So it is underneath this butt plate here is epoxy. So I made sure I filled all the epoxy on there. I put quite a lot on to stop it from splitting, which I'm going to do a lot of my leukus, because you can use like a ferrule on this bit and sometimes this bit here, but I don't actually like ferrules. I prefer plates. I prefer to make my own plates. As you can see, no cracks at all. That's just some epoxy I've stuck it. Like I say, it's just a rough. I've not actually fully cleaned it off yet properly. So, but there's no cracks appeared anywhere. Still absolutely solid. It's not moving, not going nowhere. Okay, so chopping test passed. So the dreaded bit, batoning. Now obviously I'm not going to be using this as intended, as if I'm going into wood processing wood, so I'm not going to be felling the whole forest down with this. I'm going to be processing it for just chopping and a bit of batoning for kindling. So again, got some birch. I'm not going to make it easy on the knife because I've chose a bit of birch that's got as knotty as I can find. There's a massive knot there and it's not 100% straight, so it will be a bit of a challenge for the knife negotiating these knots. As you can see, solid birch, not rotten at all. We'll see how she performs. Like I said, if the knife fails, it fails. I'd rather it fail in the video rather than if I went on a camp, so to speak. So, get my tool. Get my trusty baton. Probably need to make another one. I've had this for a while. I think this has been here for about 2 years. I made this about 2 years ago, I think. It's still going. So, okay, so like I said in the first video, this is not full tang, it's a stick tang. So, you know, should you really be batoning with stick tangs? Not really, because obviously when when the Sami tools and finished tools like this were made, you know, there was no such thing as batoning and everything, so they didn't make the Sami people didn't make knives like this for batoning. They made it just for a large knife that can be used just for chopping fern trees down and birch trees and things like that. So they'll carry this, maybe an axe and a smaller puko, which I'll show you in a bit. So, but I will be doing batoning with it in the field. Now this is 4.2 millimeters thick, solid carbon steel HTCRV2, so I know this can take it. However, it is a stick tang, so there's going to be a lot of shock going through here in the handle because it's not full tang. Now the stick tang, I must add that the stick tang in here is quite substantial. It is exactly the same thickness as the blade, so the stick tang itself is 4.2 millimeters is thick as well. It's quite thick tang, even though it's still classed as a stick tang, which it is, but it's still a very thick stick tang. So we'll see. Now the only thing I've got, it's not the most stable thing in the world, but I've got this log here. I will be making probably something to it so I can baton with. So it's not straight, so it is going to be kind of challenging. We have got one large knot there, so I'm not going to make it simple for the knife, but I will try and do it the best way. Now, looking where the grain goes, it looks like you got the grain goes across this way, so that is where we're going to baton, which means if I baton through there, the knife will hit the knot at this angle here, which is going to be challenging, but we'll see. Now because it's a stick tang, when I'm going to be batoning with it to split the wood, it's not going to be, I'm not going to be batoning it through like I normally do with knives. So normally with heavy duty knives, full tang knives, I baton probably in the centre here, okay, because I know it can take it and I know it can take the shock. But this is, don't forget, this is not full tang, this is a stick tang. So what I'm going to do to try and limit the shock, I'm going to be bringing it in here at the thickest part of the tang, okay, as much as I can, rather than down here, okay, which is going to put more stress. So I'm going to be batoning here closer to the tang, just trying to limit the shock. It's not going to be the easiest batoning because I'm batoning on a round log, so I'll try and do it as stable as I can. So rather than here, I'm going to baton it about here in the centre. Use this, I'm going to drive it home here first. Yeah, it's just quite tough, especially where the knots are. Okay, so I've seated the blade, as you can see there, seated it. Just needs a bit of a knock on that side. Okay, grip the handle tight. And split it, it did do it, as you can see. And there's the knot, right there. It's the biggest knot. Another knot there. The biggest one was there. And that's where it's split, look. So not in the centre of the knot, but pretty much. Quite a substantial piece as well. So I could do it again into smaller sections. So again, I'm going to baton it there. It's really hard to baton it when you've got a log underneath that's moving. So that's pretty good. Pretty good. Do the same again. pretty good. Some pieces. Now I know what you're saying, but yeah, it's yeah, try batoning through some solid pine as well. Well, as I explained, this wood's got no pine. So if I was in wood, I'd use whatever wood's around me to baton with, and it's going to be either ash or birch. I will be batoning some ash in a minute if this passes the test. Okay, so that's pretty good. Maybe I can get this one down a bit. I'm going to do it probably there. Yeah, that one, no good, that one. Too thin. Okay. Pretty good. Okay, so some nice fire logs there. Batoning. So I'm really sorry I'm going to keep moving the camera. Really sorry. But let's just have a look. Okay, so check for damage. Okay, so nope. No, absolutely nothing. No rolls, no chips, no bends, no deformations, nothing. Blade still straight and true. No wiggle. Blade really solid still. Handle thought those would crack them, but no. No cracks. I'm actually quite shocked. No, nothing. And considering I've not oiled this either, so it's just kind of just raw at the minute. Pommel is nice and strong still, no movement, nothing. So batoning, pass. Looking for I haven't really got any thick pieces of ash, but I probably will do another video on batoning some more harder wood. But for what it is today, I'm quite happy with it. And when I was chopping and batoning, there was absolutely zero shock at all in the handle. The handle was very comfortable. I didn't feel like it was going to fly out my hand when I was chopping. Zero vibrations, nothing. No shock whatsoever in this handle. And that's probably because obviously it's quite a thick handle, for one. Number two, the stick tang in this is 4.2 millimeters. Yeah. So just bring that up a bit. Fats out of the way. I'll sit down in here. Not the greatest video, guys. I do apologise, but you know what I'm like. So just a bit up a bit so you can see me. You want to see my ugly mug? Well, there we go. Okay, So going on to 30 minutes now. So yeah, stick that there. Okay, so I've done some chopping with it, past chopping, flying colours. This it's really powerful tool, especially for chopping. Very powerful. Every swing you could really feel the power that this blade delivers, and you can see when I was chopping on the log as well, when I was chopping the birch on the log, started off at I'm going with me, but yeah, here we go. That's where I fall off my seat. So we started off obviously chopping something this thin, which is about the same, a little bit shorter than my little finger thickness. But then I started chopping and we ended up cutting something like this with almost one swing, because this one was slightly more rotten, but it just went through it with ease. And this is quite thick, it's about 1.5 inches thick, round, and it was going through it one swing, no problem at all. But you could really feel the power behind it compared to other leukus that I've used in the past. So I'm really impressed with this. To say this is just a Mark 1, my Mark 1, a rough, like what you call it, what's the saying, diamond in the rough. But really impressed with it, awesome chopper, really good chopper. That grind is superb. You can see how the grind is, and you've got obviously got quite a thick micro bevel, so obviously it won't be the best carver, but it's not designed for carving, okay? But as you get towards the tip, which I was going to tell you about leukus, some leukus are like this. People that make the leukus, that know what they're doing, tends to be thicker, a little bit thicker towards the tip. And there's a reason for that, because obviously it adds strength to the tip, and that's what I like about this blade, because it's thin here for carving and delicate tasks and very light chopping and stuff, but as you get towards here where that curve is there, look how that beautiful curve is there. But also it's very hard to pick up on camera, but it's slightly thicker here. It's got a slightly thicker grind here than down here, and I love the way it is. They've done that, so it's incredibly strong tip, very strong. So obviously when you're chopping, the tips around this portion is not going to be easily broken. So obviously it's not designed for piercing because of the shape. This is totally flat. If you look at the spine, it's all flat all the way to the tip. So it's not a spear tip, it's not a drop point, it's just a flat tip, which is what traditional leukus are really, because it is designed for just chopping, not really stabbing or piercing things, although it will do it, but it's not what it's designed for. So if they designed it for stabbing as well, then there would be almost certainly be a drop point there rather than just flat tip. But it is strong, and you can see it's very hard to pick up on camera, but you can see this is slightly thicker up here compared to down there, and that really aids in chopping. And the forward weight of this really aids in chopping. But to say that I've never done a leuku before and I messed up slightly on the handle is very comfortable. There's a zero shock on the handle. It worked really well. There's no cracks, or everything's solid. The blade is absolutely solid, bolster's solid, the butt cap is solid. In the long term, I don't know. I will be using this in the long term, and I will update you if it does fail. I promise you that. If you look at the other leukus that are thicker than this, saying is the Roselli leuku, which is 5mm thick, which is even thicker than this. But where Roselli failed in his leuku when it comes to batoning and things is the stick tang. The stick tang and the Roselli, it starts off thick here, but then it slims down considerably to like a round bar. So it's thick here, but it gets really thin, like a round bar. So it's like a rat tail. It's almost like a rat tail tang rather than a stick tang. And I think with the Roselli leukus, that's where it failed. So I wanted to make a leuku that's not a substantial leuku, that's a bit similar to the Roselli, but it adds a more substantial stick tang, and this has got it. You know, the stick tang on here is solid, 4.2 millimeters all the way through. Yes, it does narrow down, but it still maintains that 4.2 millimeters all the way. And although it's still classed as a stick tang, it most certainly is close to a full tang as you can get a traditional leuku, because it is really a thick stick tang. Yeah, it's not going to be the world's best carver. It will carve green wood or birch softwood, no problem at all. Like this, for instance, already did that. So yes, just do a little bit of a notch on here. It will do it, but harder woods it will struggle, because you got to remember that this is heavy duty knife. It is not a delicate carving, but it will do it. Absolutely no problem. But if you get to something that's probably harder, like ash, then you probably will struggle a bit to carve, because it's a bit unwieldy and it's not really designed for a carver. But I really wanted this as a tool to take out with me, so I wanted it to be as rough as possible and just be a tool. And it's definitely passed with flying colours. Like I say, I'll update you on the handle after I've oiled it, and I definitely will be making a Mark II of this, and the handle is going to be even harder than this one. It's going to be African black ebony wood, which is incredibly strong and probably it'll look a lot better as well. A nice dark handle. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and looking at me testing my first leuku I've ever made. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it works, and I will keep using it as intended, and I will probably give you an update on it maybe in a few months' time to see if the handle still holds out and everything. So thanks for watching. Really sorry it's come up to 39 minutes now. I'll leave it there, and yeah, hope you enjoy it, and let me know what you think about traditional style Sami knives, leukus and pukos and things, and catch you in a bit. Bye bye for now. If I can sign off, that is. Remote control, it's useless.